Okay, good morning to all.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so we will continue our discussion on this multiple access and modulation and multiple access techniques. So yeah, so we were discussing about these different types of modulation schemes and what is signal bandwidth. So signal bandwidth is the range of frequencies in which 95% of the signal energy is concentrated. And what we want to do is in band limited systems, so the spectrum is a scarce resource, radio spectrum. So there what we want to do is we want to make this signal occupy as much low bandwidth as possible. So what we do is we try to filter out the negligible portions of the signal, like by passing the signal through a low pass filter, that is called as band limiting filter. So by using that, we can restrict the frequencies to a desirable range where most of the intelligence of that signal is concentrated. So our aim as a system designer is to make the signal bandwidth as less as possible. And then system or channel bandwidth is the range of frequencies over which this channel or the system provides a constant gain or constant attenuation. Like so gain is the reciprocal of the attenuation. So you can say that system provides constant attenuation within this range. If you go outside of that range, then you get variable attenuation and leads to amplitude distortion. So then what is the relation between signal and channel bandwidth for proper communication? We have seen that BC should be greater than BS. So otherwise, if the signal has more bandwidth than the channel, then some portions of the signal will be attenuated severely compared to the other portions of the signal. So generally, if we have this one, if BC is more than BS, then we see it as flat fading. So flat fading is like all the components of the signal are undergoing the same amount of fading or attenuation. Otherwise, if you don't ensure that, then in this kind of situation where the message signal is 4 kilohertz and channel is constant only over 3 kilohertz, then that leads to frequency selective fading. Like some frequencies are undergoing some amount of attenuation and others are undergoing a different amount of attenuation or gain for that matter. So then we have seen what is the need for this higher order modulations. So if you have a good channel condition, then you can switch to a higher order modulation. Thereby you can increase the speed of the communication or the data rates because you are able to send more bits per symbol within the same time. So then this was their multiplexing. So then we were stopping here at this junction at the FDM and TDM thing. So here you have a small block diagram. So it explains the overall thing what is happening in FDM. Just I will connect this. So you must have studied or were supposed to study this in another presentation, but it will be in the last chapter. So chances are that no one has taught you properly or no one has taught you at all because we know last winter sem it was a disaster. So they opened again on June 1st and within 2 days they closed the semester and told all of you to submit the assignments. Okay, so that one we know. So what is happening in this FDM? So we are trying to combine the signals. So this is a low pass filter. So generally band limiting is there, and after band limiting we modulate this with a frequency FC1, which is coming from a local oscillator. So then this is a modulated waveform. So modulation, you can follow anything here. So here it is a modulation. You can follow AM, FM or anything, DS, BSC, SS, BSC. That is your wish. So this modulated waveform is combined here. So here it is a summer. So summer means not summer, weather. So the addition block is summer here. Right. So then another user N2 of T. So this here before modulation, these are in the baseband frequencies. So baseband, this is also baseband. So like suppose I am speaking, another girl is also speaking. So we are after all humans. So we speak within the same range almost. The most intelligent part will be within 300 to 3400 hertz. So for that girl also, she is no god, so she cannot speak in some other range. So she will also speak in the same range. Now, if those things are directly sent into the communication link without any modulation, then what will happen in the spectrum? So my voice 300 to 3400 kilohertz, sorry, 3400 hertz. Then another person's voice also same. They are they are also after all human beings. Little bit variation is there, of course. So when I mean 300 to 3400, I am meaning the most concentrated part where the energy, most of the energy is there. So now another person is speaking. So without modulation, this is the situation without modulation. So if you combine all of them into a single carrier or single channel, so what will happen in the single channel? They will all get mixed up, okay, because their spectrum is same. And imagine the receiver. So at the receiver, you have to pick up only that girl's voice. So so receiver will have a very tough time to filter that one, because she is also speaking in this 300 to 3400. I am also speaking, you are also speaking. In fact, everyone is speaking within this range. So receiver will have a very tough time to demodulate the signals, demodulate or receive the signals. So there is no modulation. So receiver has very tough time to receive the signals or to extract the signals. So suppose without modulation, you are combining all of them. So that is one of the motivation for modulation. If you read need for modulation essay answer, one is that antenna length. So if you don't do modulation, then you require massive antennas which are larger than life, not possible. So that is one thing why we go for modulation. Second reason is this, to explore the possibility of multiplexing. So without modulation, if you simply, without this, if you imagine, so I will erase this block and I will show you. Okay. So baseband is like, so some speech we are speaking, something we are speaking. After that, you pass it through a low pass filter and put some cutoff frequency. Generally, we put 4 kilohertz as I mentioned in the previous class. So you are band limiting it to 4 kilohertz. So this will be a frequency between 0 to 4 kilohertz. In exactly, it will be between 300 to 3400, somewhat. So then this person also you pass through a low pass filter. So without modulation, if you simply add them and send over the channel, then this type of things will happen. So without modulation, all these people will be talking at the same frequency and receiver will have a very tough time. Okay, so it's like blood tears for the receiver in order to extract the signal, because it has to redistribute this. If you see the block diagram, it's not only about the summing, it has to again redistribute the corresponding messages to the desired users. So that's why this is important. So that's why what we do is, before sending the information on the before combining them or before multiplexing them, we go for this modulation. So modulation is indicated by this one, and local oscillator. So this one is modulated at a carrier FC1. There it's omega C1. Both are same. So FC2. Same means what? There the 2 pi factor is there. Otherwise both are same. Okay. So like this you modulate each person's voice onto a different carrier, and this is not M3 of T, this is Mn of T. So in general we can write Mn of T. So if you have n users, capital N users, so for him also low pass filter. So this low pass filtering is optional. If you have tremendous bandwidth, you don't have shortage of spectrum, you can give each user so much frequency, then you need not do that. But generally we perform low pass filtering. So this is called band limiting filter. Band limiting filter. So once you combine them, how does this look on the carrier? So this is the common carrier or the channel or the communication link, channel or medium or carrier communication link. And how do these fellows look like on a frequency axis after modulation? So the first one, let us say its shape is something like this, 0 to this is M of F, M1 of F before modulation, triangular shape, let us assume. Then M2 of F before modulation, this gate shape, M2 of F, this is F. Then Mn of F, some reversed inverted U. Okay. So this is Mn of F. So how do these? So this is before modulation. After modulation, what will happen? Uh, uh, the frequencies will be shifted to a higher extent. So if you just assume that they are undergoing the amplitude modulation, so plain AM, plain AM is one carrier will be there, and around FC it will be concentrated, and around minus FC here. So that is the meaning of the modulation, right? We are performing the frequency shifting. So you don't like this arrow mark, then you write DSBSC. So in that DSBSC there is no arrow mark. That means there is no carrier. Carrier is suppressed. But just to understand, these are shifted to FC1, FC2, and the third fellow is shifted to FC3 or FCM, because we put dot here. So this is shifted to FCN carrier, but the shape is same. Minus side also you have the same indication, but we are not drawing here. Here also arrow mark. So assume that only pure AM is performed, pure amplitude modulation. So it's also in gate exam you can also get like they will tell first one is AM modulated, second one is DSB modulated, third one is SSB modulated, last one is FM modulated. So in gate exam the main aim is to confuse the student. So that is the thing. So FC1 is here, carrier frequency. So let me draw this arrow mark also. And then FC2. So these are all placed on the frequency axis like this. They are all combined. Then this reverse U, inverted U, FC, sorry, in between many are there. At last you have this FCM. Okay, so each of these signals which is coming from a different user is modulated onto a different carrier and sent across the communication medium. So now assume you have got to the receiver. So at the receiver, we want to separate all these signals. So how do you separate it? Separator block. So how do you separate it? Generally they go for a band pass filter. So if you see here, the band pass filter will be tuned to FC1, right? The first person's voice you want to decode. So now if you see, they are all at different frequencies. Unlike the case of without modulation, where they were all in the same frequency band. Now they are not like that. My voice is concentrated at FC1. This side it is FC1 plus 4 kilohertz, FC minus 4 kilohertz. And this side for that girl's voice, FC2, it's concentrated at FC2. This side 4 kilohertz, this side 4 kilohertz. So that is the AM, right? When maximum frequency in the message signal is 4 kilohertz or FM hertz, then bandwidth of the pure AM is 2 FM. So FC1 plus FM here, FC1 minus FM here. So overall bandwidth of AM wave is 2 FM after modulation. So 8 kilohertz for me, 8 kilohertz for that girl, 8 kilohertz for some other person, and so on. See, if you see now they are separated in the frequency. So now easily you can distribute them for the individual users. So this band pass filter will be tuned to that frequency which it is supposed to receive. So it is tuned to FC1. You know the tuned circuits, right? Tuned filter or band pass filter. So the second band pass filter which is connected, it has to decode that girl's voice and give it to the appropriate receiver. So it will be tuned to the this one, FC2, and so on like that. The last one will be tuned to a frequency of FCN so that it can decode the nth message and give it to the appropriate receiver. So first it is tuning, so it's just trying to extract this portion from the spectrum, combined spectrum, and so this band pass filter will accomplish that. So it will filter this much, and after that you demodulate it with the same carrier. So if you have performed AM there, here also you have to perform AM demodulation with the same carrier frequency, of course, and then if needed you pass it through low pass filter. Generally not needed, it's combined in the AM receiver itself. Then FC2, demodulate the second second received signal. So this band pass filter aim is to extract only this FC2 thing which is concentrated around FC2. So then distribute to the appropriate users. So it's not again M1 of T. So the intended receiver of the M1 of T is M1 cap of T, with whom we are talking. Suppose if it's a cell phone or telecommunication using the landline, then this person will demodulate with a carrier of FCN and get that message. Okay, so far so good. This is the operation of the FM. So right, so you clap hands and be happy. Okay, so if it was so much easy, then there would have been no twist in that, right? So without twist there is no joy, there is no joy of engineering, right? So we should have twist. So what is that twist? So twist is that this this band pass filter is not an ideal band pass filter. So here I have written it will filter out this much. So if it has to filter out only this much, or for the second case of that girl, it has to filter out exactly how much, exactly that much. So for that girl's voice, if you want to extract, it has to extract only this much. So here we are thinking that there is an ideal band pass filter. So but like many other ideal things, ideal filters are also not available. So they are only our assumption. So what we have to do, any practical filter has some transition band, any practical filter has some roll-off characteristics. Between pass band to stop band, it needs some transition. So, so it doesn't exactly fall down with this infinite slope like this. So this is infinite slope, which is possible only in the, so till pass band it is passing all the frequencies, then suddenly it is stopping with an infinite slope. So this is parallel to y-axis, so we call it as infinite slope. So that is ideal situation, but all practical filters have some roll-off characteristics. They have some slope. They need some transition region to change from the pass band to the stop band. So this is pass band. The other place is called a stop band, where it is not allowing the frequencies. So because of this, what we have to do is we have to insert some amount of guard band. So we cannot have them exactly like this. So this is FC1. Leave some frequency band here in between. Then you take the second modulation, this one FC2. So we leave some space between each of the channels. These are called channels, like this up to FCN. So some space is left in between. Why, sir, why your, let us say, third waveform is something like this one only, we will draw here. Okay. So there is some frequencies are left out in between. So this is called as guard band. So why do you need a guard band is because because of this Mahashay band pass filter. So we cannot have an ideal band pass filter. We can bring only a practical band pass filter which has finite slope or finite this thing. So if you want to decode this signal, it will be like this. So some transition band is needed for that band pass filter. So if you provide additional guard band within that frequencies, this fellow will finish its transition or roll off. And otherwise, in this situation, without giving guard band, what will happen is this filter anyway needs some transition band. So inadvertently it will decode or receive some message from the other user also. So that leads to adjacent channel interference. Adjacent channel interference. Name itself indicates that interference from adjacent channel. So this is your channel, this is another channel. So what are the applications of this? So FDM is very much used in the television broadcasting and radio broadcasting on the FM. Uh, so you can assume all these things like the different radio channels, Radio Mirchi or Big FM or whatever you have. So all of them will be modulated at a separate frequency. If you remember, so the anchors or the RJs keep on telling 93.5 FM. So what is that 93.5 FM? They have been allotted a carrier of 93.5 megahertz, around which they have to modulate their signals, whether it is a voice or RJ's voice or audio song which plays after the anchoring. So television also, in television the only difference is you have a full video signal and appropriate modulation is performed, AM or FM modulation, and they are all lined up here on the frequency axis. So this may be, suppose if you have this entire spectrum for Z network, this may be some Z TV, this may be some Z cinema, this may be some Z sports, this may be some Z horror or something like that. So and at the receiver, what we are doing in our in our TV, so the olden TV, they have the tuned filters. So even radio also, you need to rotate that knob in order to receive the signal, you need to, that is analog. So this is all analog. Nowadays we have remote and all that, but analog wise we need to rotate the knob, and that internally will change the tuning of this band pass filter. So we have a single band pass filter with a variable tuning because the receiver is same, but in telecommunication or landline, these have to be distributed to different users. So at each user they will put the band pass filter. Okay, so broadband is important for that reason, to avoid the adjacent channel interference. Why it has come? Because of this band pass filter. Okay. So then very similar to this, not very similar. Okay, the next one is time division multiplexing. So there in the frequency division multiplexing, each user was given modulated onto a separate carrier, and they are all sending at same time. If you remember, they are all sending at same time. Here in the time division multiplexing, users are divided based on the time slot. Users are divided based on the time slot. So they all may or may not be modulated. So here we don't stress upon the modulation thing because we are separating them in time. So it's like if you have 10 milliseconds, then you divide it into 1 millisecond, and first 1 millisecond you give the chance for first user, then next 1 millisecond you send some other user. Send means what? You give the chance for third user to transmit his message, and so on. So you are separating the users based on the time slot. So here they don't interfere in frequency. So we are not talking about the modulation. But one prerequisite for the time division multiplexing is prerequisite for TDM is the signal should be digital. So we want digital signals. Analog also TDM is there, but we cannot support many users in that. Maximum 3 or 5 users can be supported. But if we go for digital, then we can support many users. So how is the thing taking place here? So once you say digital signal, you know how to get a digital signal. So this is the speech or voice which we are speaking, M of T. Pass it through sampling, quantization and encoding blocks, and you get bits here. Okay. So once you get these bits, this is a digital signal. So of course there are many variations. Codecs are there, and they try to compress the signal, or they try to uh, add some scrambling or interleaving. So without all that, there are two other things: source coding and channel coding. Okay, so source coding is trying to reduce the data rate of the source signal, and channel coding is we are adding additional redundancy, additional protection. So after source coding, you get the raw bits. So those raw bits are very vulnerable in the wireless medium. So during channel coding, we add some additional protection to those bits in the form of redundancy or in the form of scrambling. There are many different techniques. So otherwise, without doing all that, if you just assume you have plain digital signals here, so then in the this one TDM, what happens is, so this is actually not M1 of T, M1 of NTS, yeah, digital signal. So after band limiting also we can perform this. So this is the band limiting of 4 kilohertz, let us say 0 to 4 kilohertz. So this is from the first person, then second person. What we are doing is we are not modulating them. Actually, it's not necessary to perform modulation in the TDM. So just you are band limiting them. After band limiting, you pass it to a A to D block. So generally in electronics we call it as A to D block. Here we call it as this PCM block, which is doing these three things. PCM or DPCM or whatever. This PCM delta modulation. So it is doing these three things: sampling, quantization, and encoding. So once you get that, you will get some bits, and then there is something called as a commutator. So commutator is like a multiple pole switch. So once during the first time slot, it will be pointed here. This switch is of course a switch. So 0 seconds it is pointing here. At TS seconds it will be pointing to this user, and at 2 TS it will be pointing to the third user. At 10 TS it will point to the last user. So again after this full cycle it will go back to the first user. So this is called as commutator switch, which is giving the chance for each user. So this is the channel. So how do these things look like on the communication channel? So they look like this. So suppose let us say this person's message is like this. This person's message is in the box dotted. So just to indicate. So on the communication channel, in the first time slot between 0 to TS seconds, this person's signal bits will be there. This is all digital. So then in the second time slot, TS to TS, this person's voice or video or data, whatever it is, after modulation or after digitization. Then third person's signal from 2 TS to 3 TS. So maybe some other small circuits. Then after NTS, so this is NTS. So at NTS, this last user's message will be transmitted and it will be sent out to the receiver. So again, once this full cycle is over, this is called as one frame. And once this is over, our the chance will come again to this first user. So the commutator switch rotates and goes back to that first position and takes the bits from that first user. And it goes on like that. And at the receiver also there is another decommutator. Generally this is decommutator, which is also matched to the speed of this commutator. Decommutator. So if this is pointing at 0, this is also pointing to 0. If this is pointing to 1, this is pointing to 1. So at 0, at TS, at NTS. So whenever it is switching there, this will also switch. So of course, you have to subtract the path delay between these two. Apart from that path delay, both of these switches are synchronized. So if you see here, except the path delay, you know that from transmitter to receiver, it takes 1 second for the signals to go. So apart from that 1 second, these two are synchronized. Okay, so that's how the appropriate message will be delivered to the desired unit. So here low pass filter actually not needed, but the reverse thing of these bits have to be converted into the digital. From digital you have to get back the analog waveforms. So before that, before distributing, you have to get it back from D to A. And analog, if you want, you can do low pass filter. And this is the message desired for the first user. And here also some D to A conversion. So here also what happens is, this is the general principle. This commutator and decommutator are in sync with each other, and this will be T only since we are converting it to digital later on. Okay, so these two are in sync with each other. And okay, so what's the problem? Everything is fine. So similar to the case of that FM, we have FDM. We may have some problem, like there is something called as delay spread and what is the intersymbol interference. So during that, what happens is due to the intersymbol interference. So during the intersymbol interference, the energy which has to be concentrated within this symbol time, it will be spilled over to the neighboring time slot, which is corresponding to the other user. So at the due to the different effects of the channel, it so might happen that this energy of the first user, which has to be confined to this 0 to ts, will be spilled over into the next time slot, and therefore some of the energy will be gone into that, or it will cause the interference. It is called as intersymbol interference. Similar to that, adjacent channel interference which occurs in FDM. Here also we have intersymbol interference. The second person signal may also spread, delay spread, and it may extend into the third one. So here if you decode it, then the full energy will not be captured, and you may make errors in the receiving, like you may receive 1 as 0 or 0 as 1. So to avoid that, they will put some God time. So this time it is God time. So between different successive symbol periods, they insert some little bit of time. That is called God time. So here the second channel is starting. So why that God time is kept? So within that God time, all this rubbish thing should be over. So even though your channel is first person's signal spreading, that spreading should get over within this God time. And second person's symbol may spread this side also. So second person symbol may spread here and there also. So for him another God time is created. So like that we insert God time in between getting, so that meanwhile within that time this even though there is the spread of the signal, that will be over within that. And here whenever the switch is pointing to this one, it will receive only that energy. Similar to this, there is a commercial carrier system called T1 carrier system. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, people are there increasing also. That's nice. So I think this T1 carrier I will finish very quickly. So this is also an example, commercial example of the TDM system. So what we do is there is chance for 24 users who transmit their signals. 24 users can be multiplexed onto a single channel. So how they can be multiplexed is that commutator switch gives the chance. How does it give the chances? Each so basically one user is like 4 kilohertz is the message band limited after low pass filtering. It is used generally for voice telephony. So it's band limited to 8 kilohertz. Then as per the Nyquist theorem, if 4 kilohertz is the highest frequency, then we have to sample it at 8,000 samples per second. So 10 kilo samples per second. And then each of the sample is allotted 8 bits for quantization. So during each sample, each sample is allotted 8 bits for quantization. So overall data rate becomes 64 kbps. Now this is called sampling rate. Sampling rate is how much? 8,000 samples per second. Reciprocal of this gives the sampling instant or the sampling interval, which will be like 1 by 8,000. I think it's 125 microseconds. So at each 125 microseconds, this commutator switch will be shifting. First at 0, it will be pointing to the first user 1. Then after this much microseconds, it will point to the second user commutator switch, and like that it will be pointing towards the nth user after so much time. So yeah, I think that's the main thing about the T1 carrier. So in the channel, so we are giving only 125 microseconds for each user. So within each time slot, they can send only one signal or one sample. One sample of first user you collect, then switch to the next one, second sample of the first sample of the second user, and so on. UAN. Then ideally they should start the next frame, but here they need 1 bit for synchronization. So this is called synchronization bit to let know the receiver that one frame is over, and after this next frame is starting. So then U1, U2. So this time once it comes back here, it will point to the first user again, and he will put his second sample onto the channel. So like that it goes on. So each sample has 8 bits. So when you have chance, you put 8 bits onto the channel, because we gave 8 bits for quantization. So one sample has 8 bits. Yeah, so this is how the T1 carrier system works. Then, which we cannot solve now, we will see next class. Next class we will see next two classes how FM is used in satellite communication and how the different multiple access schemes are performed, like FDMA, TDMA, CDMA, etc. Okay, so thank you for your patient listening. So generally what happens in any university, they will teach the starting units properly